Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Tatiana Show. It is Tuesday, June 14th in beautiful New Jersey. I'm home today, and I'm excited because last week I missed the show, which was unfortunate. We had Eric Voorhees on, but Josh handled it very well. And today we have two guests. We've got Kavner and Shidan Gouran. So these gentlemen are somewhat related to one another, but I'm not going to reveal those secrets yet. First, let's welcome my co-host. Hey, Josh, what's going on? How's it going?
Tatiana, are you feeling better? How's that? Those golden vocal cords of yours?
I am not 100%, but I am significantly better. I thought I was going to die last week. I'm glad I didn't die.
Well, we
Um,
had some amazing events last week, and it was sad because I wanted to, introduce you to some people. I went to the Storage event here in Berlin.
mhm.
That was really interesting. What they're doing, I've got my Storage T-shirt, proudly wearing my Storage T-shirt. But what they're doing is incredible. And folks, if you haven't heard of Storage, which is STORJ, they are building a decentralized Dropbox that basically, if you've got some extra hard drive space, you can lend that out to the network and allow people to use part of that hard drive space, and you get paid in Bitcoin. Not lend, but lease out your hard drive space. So what's fascinating about that is that when you have a file, it cuts it up into many parts, actually duplicates it, cuts it up into many parts, and scatters it all over hundreds of different hard drives, thousands. And then when you want that file, it collects them from all these different hard drives and puts it on. And they've already got uh, teraflops. I don't know. There's a lot of space on this network already, and super impressed with what they're doing. It is the it is the fruition of what we've all wanted in terms of the internet, of having a truly decentralized internet. And I'm really looking forward to the future when we can start hosting websites or web pages or images from these decentralized networks. It's still very young, but do yourself a favor, folks. Check out Storage. It's a great project.
Can I ask you a question? And I think this is a question that people wonder sometimes. What's the difference between storage and MaidSafe?
Well, they're tackling the same things, similar things. MaidSafe is more of a broader, actually, thing. So storage is attacking purely storage. That's why it's called storage. Um, but MaidSafe is trying to allow a total decentralized internet from the get-go. So yeah, they're slightly different beasts, but they're handling a lot of the same problems that each other have got, which is storage. At the base of the internet, what a website's doing, they're stored on a server somewhere, so they're being served from there. So they're doing very similar things, but in different ways. And actually, there's other people doing it as well. There's Swarm, and there's uh, some other protocols. So there's a lot of people building lots of different protocols. So let the best woman win, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. What are you drinking there, by the way? Is that a Guinness?
No, that's a coffee.
Oh, okay. Well, you said that you were drinking before, so I wanted to make this a
Uh,
little bit more festive.
that was a German beer.
Okay, fine. So you've got coffee and beer.
Coffee and
Um,
beer. You'll feel queer. I don't know.
so I'm really excited because the price of Bitcoin is up. I know that if you're really cool, you say that the price of Bitcoin going up doesn't matter and it's irrelevant, and then you make a snobby face toward the people that actually care. But I personally am super excited about the price. I think it's here to stay. I know that that's really optimistic. I've been burned before, but um, I think this rally is gonna stick around for at least a little while. The highest that I saw was 720. I think we're about 680 right now. People
I like
ask
that.
me,
I like that
huh?
you called it a rally because I think the term bubble is wrong. Bubbles pop entirely, whereas rallies go and then maybe pop back down
No,
or
people
pop.
are excited about Bitcoin, and they should be. And actually, it makes me think that all this excitement about blockchain will finally eat the dust of Bitcoin. No, just kidding. Not really.
Let's
I
get.
like I like blockchain and I like Bitcoin, but I mean, I'm actually taking credit for this rally because, as you know, I was on John Stossel and it finally aired. So if people want to know about that, they can go to youtube.com/. Forevermore Tatiana, and they could see me on John Stossel talking about Bitcoin. So that aired just this Friday, and I thought that that's probably why the price went up.
I was gonna take credit for the price going up because I sold a little bit just beforehand. So, that's usually the way it goes.
So do people want to get more in, like, what do they do with their gold when the price is going up? Are they selling their gold to get into Bitcoin? Are they cashing out their Bitcoin to get into gold while the price is hot? What's the deal?
Yeah, actually, we're seeing both sides. So some people want to jump on this ride and think that it's going way higher, and some people are like buying all the way up, putting into gold because I had one email saying, "Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to get free gold because I had this Bitcoin, it's gone up 30%, now I've bought 30% of gold, so I've effectively got free gold." So there's lots of people who have, and this is the thing with free markets, is that some people think it's going higher. Some people think it's the top. Some people think it's the bottom. Yeah, it's always changing and different of opinions, and that's the beauty of markets. The crowd levels it out. But I'd love to see what our guests think of the price.
Yes, why don't we bring on Gene, our first guest of the day, because what I really like about what Gene has done, he has this website, iPayYou, right? And sending Bitcoin to friends and family is a nightmare. Um, no matter how easy everybody claims their service is, I don't think that it's that easy at all. I think it can be really difficult and complicated. When Gene gave me their walkthrough of the iPayYou backup, I was really impressed, and I sent a bunch of money to my friends and family, and I honestly can't really imagine an easier interface. I don't know what it is about it that makes it so easy, but it is really simple. And we have Gene here to tell us all about it because they just launched back in May, so not very long. And they're going to be at this conference, which our other guest, Shidan, is putting on in Las Vegas later in July, along with me and Josh. So welcome to the show, Gene. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Tatiana, thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. I would love to take the credit for Bitcoin price going up, and I
You're
think it
not.
was
I already took
actually
credit. Sorry.
all all us. No, it's one of those, the great child has many parents, and I think we're all loving the price. But what the vision we have is, if you look at all of the Bitcoin related products and services today, they keep the Bitcoin within the group of people that already love and care and want the Bitcoin to succeed. And they, for whatever the reason, they already are in this ecosystem. And we understand it. We get how the Bitcoin works and how the miners mine and how the ledger is decentralized. But if you go on the street and you just look at any random person and you tell them, would you accept some virtual currency? Do you know what cryptocurrency? Do you know what a distributed ledger is? You're going to get some blank stares back. And what I did, I did a lot of products in my life. I, was one of the original architects of Microsoft MSN. I served on as a worldwide director of Amazon affiliate program for a while, and we brought technical products to consumers in a way that consumers can understand them. And I saw that part missing in Bitcoin. It's the part that brings Bitcoin to an everyday consumer in a way they get it. So we try everything we can to avoid saying crypto or virtual or digital or even Bitcoin. Now we do say it because we have to, because 1 minute people may have $20 in their account and next time it might be 23 and they don't know why. An average person wouldn't understand why it fluctuates, so we have to explain it. But when it comes to sending money, when it comes to receiving money, we do everything we can to make all the terminology, to make the whole process understandable for people who really do not care about Bitcoin. They do not care if it succeeds or not succeeds. They just want to improve their lives. And that's what we try to do with Bitcoin. We want to improve everybody's lives by making certain things easier for them. And in as much as we can do so effectively and well, our goal is to really expand the ecosystem from people who really love Bitcoin to people who just want to use it without realizing it, that they're using it. And that's why the Bitcoin price is going up. So I hope I've tied all the pieces together.
Hey Josh, have you tried out the iPayYou platform yet?
I haven't, but I'm looking forward to trying it out
I think you
straight
should
after the
try and
show.
use it to send it to somebody who doesn't know how to use Bitcoin. Does your dad know how to use Bitcoin? I mean, he's in that fancy
Yeah,
office with you guys. I feel like he knows something about Bitcoin by now.
he knows. He's been indoctrinated.
Okay, good.
I
Very
would I
exciting.
would say very quickly the goal is if you haven't used Bitcoin and it's your very first Bitcoin that you have, we hope it comes from somebody who's introduced him via the iPayYou, because to us the primary way to send Bitcoin is by email, not via a very cryptic Bitcoin address that people literally don't understand too well. They just provide somebody's email. The recipient does not have to have a Bitcoin account. They do not even need to have an iPayYou account. We will automatically create a Bitcoin address for them. We will invite them by email to join. They have to authenticate themselves. And once they did, they have access to their currency, to the value that they have. And now they can send it by email to anybody else. And we are about to introduce a feature where you can do all of this by Twitter. You can send money to anybody where the only information you know about your recipient is their Twitter handle. And
Wow.
we are just making it as simple as possible for people to do commerce, to get value. If you have something important that you want to bring to the world, you want to get paid, this is how you would do it. Imagine, like, I ran the Amazon affiliate program. They send out millions of effectively checks by mail to their affiliates as payment for bringing traffic to Amazon. All of those affiliates already have an email address. Imagine Amazon, instead of sending them all these checks, just simply emailing their affiliate program money.
Yeah,
Imagine how
it
much
is
better that is.
it is really crazy that some of these companies that were really cutting edge, really leading the way of the internet have fallen behind. Like the fact that Google hasn't embraced blockchain technology, hasn't embraced Bitcoin, that Amazon still hasn't embraced it, for me is really strange. I mean, here we have the native currency of the internet, something that it is so phenomenal, so grand, and these people don't want to even just have a pilot program. I find it really really strange. But what I really love about where you're taking this, Gene, is the fact that you're hiding the complexity. Your aim is to hide the complexity, and I think this is what we saw with voice over IP, with all these protocols, that to get this stuff happening, people need nice GUIs, they need nice interfaces, they don't need to know the stuff behind it. If you ask anyone out there, folks, how does Visa work, you don't start talking about the protocols and the encryption they use in the back end. You just say, well, you've got this card and you swipe it down a thing, and then there's your money. And that's really where Bitcoin needs to go for us to hit mainstream, and it's great to see people working on that.
Oh, you're totally right, Josh. I mean, that's exactly it. I equate it to knowing how many capacitors your television has. I mean, nobody even knows what a capacitor is, and I really hope, and I think for Bitcoin to really be that successful as a solution to everyday problems, it needs to be like a capacitor. You're using it without realizing you're using it, and that's how the ecosystem grows, and that's the way we get Bitcoin price from, I guess, what, 685 now to 6,850. It's just getting it into the hands of people that can use it in ways that they cannot do with their regular fiat currency, not because they love Bitcoin, because they can just do certain things that they can't do otherwise.
Um, well, what feature set, to be a little bit more specific, do you think is kind of unique to iPayYou? So it's good. Obviously, you're not going to stay anonymous if you're using iPayYou. You're registering, which is, expected for some types of services, and for people that forget their passwords, that's a really good thing. I mean, you don't want everybody to have a completely off the grid kind of solution, because I just don't think that's the right fit. So maybe you can go into that a little bit.
Sure, sure. Well, kind of the way I describe our target customer is a target customer who is asked to enter a password would enter the word password. We forget very often that that is the world out there who is not necessarily so technically savvy to know password is just really a bad password. And already we launched just about a month ago, and I cannot tell you, Tatiana, how many times I've seen people just saying, I forgot my password. They click on that link and they say, remind me. Now imagine this. I know there's quite a few wallets out there, and every product has a really good target customer in mind. But for our customers, if they were to, let's just say, encrypt their private key with their password, and now they forget the password, that is very troubling. I mean, I've seen people lose all their money in their wallet to just simply forgetting the password, and that's a typical, event in normal people's lives. So what we do is we marry this technology with safety at the same time. For example, everybody, we keep people's passwords, and we allow them, and then when you create an account, they create it with a mobile device. So we have a two-factor authentication built into the system. So we make it super secure. At the same time, unlike a number of other hosted wallets, we keep all of the money that somebody has in their own Bitcoin address. So they can at any point check the balance that they have on the blockchain itself. They can do this themselves, and the amount they have with us that we report as their balance will always match what the blockchain says. So we do not pool their funds. They're completely held in their own accounts, but at the same time, we offer all these password reset services and ability to restore accounts, and we do it safely. And we do it easily in a way that allows them to transact without opening too many keys to be able to transact. So there are wallets that are designed to be vaults, somewhere where you keep all your Bitcoin and for a long time. And we are what we call a transactional wallet. You keep the Bitcoin that you want to spend, and you replenish it with Bitcoin you want to spend later. And we allow you to buy and sell Bitcoin to get more or less into your wallet, but we make it simple. And that's the goal. The goal is that you should not really understand too much. We hide information, for example, such as what's a miner's fee and how much you're supposed to put on. Now, we've seen recently the blockchain has gotten pretty full, and as a result, the fees that you need to put on any transaction goes up because it costs more to put a transaction on a full blockchain. If a person accidentally puts a wrong fee into their transaction, it could sit there hung, not confirming for days, potentially weeks. Imagine a normal person explain it to them why their transaction is not confirmed. They would not even understand it. So we take the pain to take that effort from the user. We figure out what is the right amount of fee we need to put in, and we just simply ask the user to include that fee, and they don't have a choice about that. That way, the transaction will go through, and we know it'll go through. So if the fee goes up, we are charging a higher fee. If it drops down, we're charging a lower fee. So it's automatic for the user. They don't have to struggle and put the wrong fee accidentally. We make that as one of our features. As I mentioned before, we allow people to send transactions by email. It's the technology they already understand. 20, 25 years ago, few people knew email, but today they do. So that's their mode of how typically they interact, and we allow them to do so. We're going to be allowing Twitter transactions. We are offering a transaction cancellation. Now, we all know Bitcoin doesn't support it. It's not something that Bitcoin, in fact, should support. It's always now when a merchant receives money that somebody can't just simply take it back and double spend it later. But when people send money to their colleagues, friends, they accidentally sometimes make mistakes. So what we did is that until the recipient logs in to the iPayYou network to claim the funds, until then, the sender does have an opportunity to cancel their transaction if they've learned they've accidentally put in the wrong email or the wrong amount on a transaction and they made a mistake. They can take it back. If, let's say, it's two parents come home and they want to pay a babysitter, and they pay a babysitter by email, and for whatever the reason, babysitter has not withdrawn the money 2 weeks later. Well, the parents can either, first of all, they see the transaction is still cancelable, which means the babysitter has not logged in yet. They can either inquire why they haven't logged in or cancel it and pay a different way. But what that does is allows people the freedom and the flexibility to know that if they make a mistake, it's not going to be a grave one. I'm sure you guys probably have sent money to people that with Bitcoin that they did not know how to get, and the money was kind of lost. I've done that myself for sure. This gives them that safety that mistakes are not permanent.
All right, very cool. So people can use it right now. Is it a mobile wallet, or is it just something that you access on your computer?
At this point, you can definitely access it mobile. We do not have a mobile app yet. We're working on it. You know, we're in startup mode, so we're definitely working as hard as we can to get all of the features in a way that everybody wants to use it. But we have a lot of people do use iPayYou on their mobile devices via the web interface, and certainly on the web we work well, and we're building up our app as we speak.
Okay, excellent.
Do you have an API?
It is not a public API yet, but absolutely we're working on making it public as well. Our target customer right this second is the end consumer. They don't even know what an API is. However, what we're also doing is introducing a lot of very smart features. For example, you know, we want to make affiliate programs better. How do we do that? Well, somebody in an affiliate program buys a product with Bitcoin, we can pay an affiliate directly right out of that transaction. They do not need to wait till the end of the month. We can just split the transaction and pay, let's just say 3 or 4% to an affiliate and 96% to the merchant themselves, without merchant needing to figure out how and who is to be paid. That will require an API. So we're working on full-blown feature set, not just for consumers, but making commerce easier, and that's the goal of iPayYou.
So what are you going to be talking about? We're going to bring up our next guest in just a couple minutes here. What are you going to be talking about at the blockchain event? Just for people who are at home that don't know what's going on, this doesn't sound familiar to them. The blockchain event is July 18th to the 21st in Las Vegas, held at Caesar's Palace. And our next guest, Shidan, is in charge of that. But Jean, what are you going to be talking about at this panel?
My goal is to introduce people to just everyday commerce using virtual currencies. And how do you take an average user, and what will it take for them to actually go and transact? And how do you build a system in a way that allows people to do this easily and enable it for the rest of us? And that's the goal.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Josh, do you have any more questions?
No, but I'm going to definitely try this out, and because I find that one of the hardest things, one of the best ways to introduce people to Bitcoin is to actually send them some. When I could talk for hours about the virtues of cryptocurrency and blockchain-based assets and Bitcoin, but it's not until I send a transaction that people actually go, oh, wow, and the light bulb goes off in their head, and that's when they start raving about it, because they really go, oh, that quick? Because even if it's unconfirmed, it's like, boom, they see it, it's there. And so yeah, I'm going to definitely check it out. I love the idea of paying through Twitter. We've got a couple of sites that help do that, but I think if it's tied into a nice wallet, would make it even better. So I'm a big fan of that, because Twitter, it's always fun to send through like change tip something, and then you see the replies like, what just happened? Like people just like, what was that? Wow. So it's a really great way of spreading the understanding and spreading freedom through Bitcoin.
No, right on. And Josh, and what you said about sending first Bitcoin, I think 3/4, maybe even 4/5 of everything I've sent, all of those transactions were to people who've never had Bitcoin in their entire lives until this event. And I think Tatiana did the same thing. A lot of the people you sent Bitcoin through iPayYou, that was their very first Bitcoin. They never had it before, and now they are Bitcoin owners. And that's what we want to empower people to do.
Excellent. So, Jean, where's the link where people can go and try it out?
It's iPayYou.io.
Okay, I pay
Very
you
simple.
the letter U, right?
No, YOU.
Okay.
YOU, and it's, you should be able to see that in my lower third,
Okay.
below my
Cool.
name, and iPayYou.io.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, Jean. We look forward to seeing you down in Vegas in July. So thank you very much, and let's bring on Shidan. But before we do, I just wanted to go over a few quick things, some announcements, I guess. Today's magic phrase will be Porkfest, because next week I'm going to be up in Porkfest, Porcfest. And next thing, what else? So I'm going to be there next week. I'm going up with Lynn Ulbricht. We're going to be talking the free Ross case. Everybody knows that I am obviously very passionate about that. I think a lot of people are. And the government is replying to the appeal that Ross and his attorneys have filed, because he's appealing his double life sentence plus 40 years. Obviously, that's insane, and there was a lot of corruption in the case on multiple levels. So if you want to find out more about that, go to freeross.org, and if anybody's in New Hampshire next week, Porkfest is the place to be. There's also the live blockchain training conference, June 20th to the 21st in Toronto, and that's something that my friend Pamela Morgan's involved with. A lot of my friends, I think, are involved with that. I think Elise Colleen as well. And to find out more about that event, you can go to blockchaintraining.org. Other than that, I guess let's bring on our next guest, Shidan Gouran. Shidan is coming to us from Toronto, I think, actually. So are you going to be at this blockchain training conference June 20th to 21st, Shidan?
Probably I will, yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
learned about it today, actually, so
Excellent.
definitely, yeah.
See, you learn something new every day. Welcome
You
to the
do.
show.
Thanks very much for having me, Tatiana.
Great.
It's
So
yeah.
why don't you tell me a little bit about, I want to know what made you want to do a Bitcoin conference, blockchain conference, sorry. I know that there's some people
Branding
like
issues.
blockchain, yeah, some branding questions, but I do realize that, of course, there's something a little bit different about the blockchain aspect. So what were you doing in Bitcoin before that led you to this point where you're like, I want to throw a conference in the middle of July?
Yeah. So I've been involved with Bitcoin for a while. I was a very early miner in Bitcoin, and bought Bitcoins very early on, and then I've been part of the cryptocurrency fan base, I guess you can call it, for a while. And what happens is I was actually meeting with some friends of mine who throw conferences, as you know, in the telecommunication space. That's my background. I come from that industry, and we're actually having a conversation with the ex-CTO of Nortel and some people where we're talking about cryptocurrencies and how interesting they are and what potentials they have. And out of that conversation came the idea really that this has the ability to kill market singularities. And by market singularities, I mean things like YouTube and Uber and whatnot, which you cannot escape from anymore to do commerce. You can actually build marketplaces that are decentralized, and that's really what opened everybody's eyes up and made it super interesting. And that's why we started this conference pretty much, because we see applications of it in all sorts of industries. And that's what we want to explore. So the music industry is something I'm very much interested in, the telecommunications industry, and these are all topics we're going to be covering at this show.
And why Las Vegas?
Las Vegas, well, because we're co-located with a conference, a trade show that's fairly established over there, and with a group of people that throw amazing conferences. So it was just a perfect venue. It's a place that people like to come to. It's a great place to stay at. And again, like we have about 2,000 attendees coming right now, to this show, including the show that we're co-located with. So it's a great opportunity for people that are in the space to explain to people, what this is all about, how it can help their business, and where they can take it. You're talking about 2,000 people who are mostly C-level executives at IT companies and consumer-facing internet companies. This is exactly who you want to target. I mean, right now people want to really target the financial industry, but why not target the actual end businesses? Because you can have commerce, as I mentioned before, without the banking industry, but you can't have the banking industry without commerce. So why not just tackle that? And for me, blockchain versus Bitcoin is I don't think you can divorce the two from each other. I really think you need both, actually. And that's what we're going to be focusing on for this conference, is people actually building commercial applications within industries, not just the financial industry.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that everything that happens at the blockchain event in Las Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas. It actually gets spread around, because it's there would be a lot of important information there. Who are some of the speakers that are going to be showing, apart from myself and Tatiana, of course?
Well, yourself and Jinni are two great examples of companies that are doing what I just said, focusing on commerce, right? You're trading gold. This is outside of the financial industry, really the core financial industry.
Yeah.
Jinni has a wallet that's getting into the affiliate payment space and loyalty. That's a perfect application of this technology.
Absolutely.
And he's not a bank, right? So we have a tremendous amount of great startups and established companies that are coming to the show that are doing things like this. We have one API provider that is doing that will be actually offering their API as a service. This is a major API provider. I'm not going to mention yet who it is, but they're actually looking to accept cryptocurrencies of their own to offer services. We have a person from Voxel coming who are building a online marketplace for VR, and they have a token for that, right? So that's another example of loyalty, in my opinion. That's great. So there's a lot of really interesting businesses that are coming to this event, and a lot of interesting projects.
You know what I think is cool is that there's Freedom Fest just a few days before that. So I'm going to be in Vegas from July 11th, I think. Freedom Fest is July 13th to the 17th. Freedom Fest isn't always libertarian people. There's some neocons there and some libertarian light, but a lot of people are very concerned about freedom. I'd love to see some crossover because I still think that the libertarian and the people who are interested in some sort of a political change or getting the government out of their lives, right? I don't know if they're really understanding the opportunities afforded by blockchain technology. Have you looked into having any people that are toying around with voting or with the political process at all through blockchain?
Yeah, we'd love to have people from that space come as well. I think again, there is some similarities there, because my main concern is building marketplaces that are decentralized. That's what I do. That's what I'm investing in right now. That's what I'm doing in my time outside of this conference, and that really goes well with that philosophy, I think, of what they're doing. And voting is a perfect example of that. And it's something we definitely want to promote at the event. So if people from Liberty Fest want to join us, by all means, we'd love to have that happen.
Are you doing anything that, any kind of socializing at the event? Any kind of fun parties at night? Have you thought about that at all?
There's a bunch of parties we've arranged for the event. I don't have them off the top of my head, but we have some events lined up for people. Absolutely, it's Las Vegas. You need that.
Absolutely. Well, I think that people will not have a hard time letting loose and finding something to do in Vegas. I'm not really the biggest Vegas person. I feel like it's a little too much action for me. But even for people that don't want a lot of action, I guess there's always, like late night pool hang. That's what I think I'm gonna organize. Like
Absolutely.
on the
Let's do that.
17th,
Blockchain
that's
coin.
going to be the plan. All right. Well, everybody see me about a pool party. Josh, are you coming for the entire event? What's your plan? You're coming into Vegas, and any
Yeah,
thoughts about
I'll
this?
be at Freedom Fest and also the blockchain event. I'm super excited. I just wanted to head back to what you said about how you can have banking, you can have commerce without banking, but you can't have banking without commerce. And that's a really interesting little point, because it reminds me of you can have education without schooling.
Yeah.
Uh, these two words are very interesting. This play on words, and I feel that what Bitcoin has really brought us is the ability to separate banking from commerce. Because before it was always, it had to go back to the bank. Because if we go right back, gold was too heavy to bring to market, so you would bring the certificates of gold and start trading them. And then eventually it was just debts that everyone was holding, but everything had to go. The debts had to go back to the markets. But with Bitcoin, you have a bearer-based asset that is just floating peer-to-peer. We don't need that system anymore.
No,
of course, it can be
absolutely.
handy, and I'm not saying that they're irrelevant, because there's use cases for banking institutions still. But I think where we can take a lot of the power away, and these institutions and these small group of families actually have had so much power and control in the world. And I'm putting my little conspiracy hat on here, but it's just a fact that small amounts of families own the global banking systems. There's really, at the top of the game, there's not that many. And so by allowing us to say, you know what, we don't need that anymore, we can exit peacefully is just beautiful. So, and the blockchain event coming, all these events actually teaching people this stuff is phenomenal. And I think Bitcoin is really the first app of the blockchain, and all these other things are going to do exactly what we're doing to banking, but to a lot of different sectors that have had a stranglehold or a duopoly at best on industry. So
Yeah, and when you say stranglehold, that's what I mean by market singularities. You can't escape it. You have to use them. They set everything. For me, YouTube is a good example of that. If you're an artist and you want to get out there, you're not really getting a great deal by using these services. But if you had an open platform, and now that data is so important, and software is algorithms are almost less important. If you had a platform that was open for everybody and anybody could innovate on as far as building better systems, easier to use systems, offering little bits and pieces of what YouTube does, for example, or Google does, I should say, then it's really a boon to artists and everybody involved, right? We want to get back to a place where you have a lot of media companies, not just a handful. And the way to do that is to have an open platform that makes it easy for them to be their own entity, really.
yeah, absolutely. And you see, I always feel that it's a type of arms race almost. The internet spawned this explosion of websites that everyone had their own little website on, and so. But then services like Facebook came along and started sucking all that towards a central point. And now we're getting people developing social networks that will basically disempower these centralized organizations.
And we have some of the most interesting ones actually coming to the show. Steemit is coming, Augur is coming. Those are two amazing projects that I'm really big fans of. And okay, so I mean, one thing you have to realize is that something like radio, for example, radio, you put up one tower and you reach all sorts of people, and that's how it worked in the past. That you had one tower, whether you had an audience of 40,000 or 4 million, it didn't cost you any more. Yeah. The internet, has been wonderful. It's given you a large reach, but it hasn't made things cheaper actually, because each user incurs a cost, and people have to always consider that kills many startups, because They don't necessarily raise money to handle that, and it makes it very difficult to run it as a real business instead of just a hype business that's built on capital gains. So what a lot of these technologies let you do is get back to the way things were. That now you have a decentralized system that things can spread as the internet was originally planned to be, without a cost per user, or at least it becomes a linear cost, maybe even sublinear, which is great. And that's what we really want to focus on at this show, is that next evolution.
Yeah, I personally am very frustrated by the existing, I don't know, processes that you have to do as an artist,
Yeah.
Like, I was just trying to post something on Facebook the other day, and it's just frustrating that I built up an audience there, and now I'm being charged to access that audience, and that audience
Yeah.
doesn't want that. They don't want me to get charged. They don't only want to see my posts if I happen to have money to promote them. And I don't even necessarily think the value is that great.
No.
But I think that all the different alternatives we should be able to explore. I know I think I'm going to do a panel with everybody about like remittances, and then Josh, which panel are you on? What are you talking about? What's your thing about?
I've been I've been smashing conferences at the moment. I've been giving talks at a few of them, so I have to check.
It's on the securitization and peer-to-peer
Yes,
finance.
yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so that's a really exciting topic. I've been building my talk in the background, but I'm really excited. Sorry, it's caught me off guard there. So Shidan, if people want to get tickets, how do they go about that now?
Just
What's
go to the
best way?
blockchainevent.com and buy a ticket there.
Okay. Is there early bird prices, or is there any way?
There's early bird tickets, yeah.
Yep.
People qualify for. Yeah,
Excellent.
Absolutely. And
I just quickly wanted to say that with the Facebook, we give as content creators, or even website hosts, or we've got a website, and we put a little like button all over the place. We sit there promoting Facebook like there's no tomorrow. On almost every website we promote Facebook, and then, like Tatiana said, we have to pay to access the people that we've managed to collect into a little group, so that they see it. And this is the sort of another step in cryptocurrency, especially when it comes to payment channels, that we should say, look, we've got this like button on our website. If someone clicks it, I want a Satoshi, or I want something, because I'm sitting there giving you value, and as soon as I want to get value back, I have to pay for it. And I understand it. They need to make money. They're a large organization. They've got massive amounts of servers. They need to make money. But
at this show, because of, again, my background as far as what I've done, and I've invited a lot of people from the leading media companies actually to come to our show, and this is a perfect opportunity to talk to them and say, what, things can be the way they used to be, where you guys were federated together and you're offering media to the world, instead of having all these little points where you had to go through, and this sort of rent seeking happening even for media producers, right? Why should a major media company have to really do everything the way Google wants them to do it, right? Why can't they do it the way they want to do it, and really get the rewards for what they're doing? They're offering a real service. A music publisher is offering a real service to musicians, and it's not just rent seeking. And so this is debatable, but again, this is where we want to really take this conference. People that are actually innovating and offering services, they're the ones that should be making money, not just people that have a database. They're not really bringing that much value. And now, because of Bitcoin technologies and blockchain technologies, we see a path for this to actually happen. And what I say is, commerce doesn't need banking. Commerce doesn't need banking because of these technologies, because of the internet. Just as what you were saying about schools, you now have the Khan Academy, You have all sorts of things online. Again, it's because of the internet that these steps can be taken. So the technology is there. It's just a matter of social acceptance, politics, and regulation.
Yeah, and we add so much value to these networks. I mean,
Yeah.
we've just seen LinkedIn get purchased by Microsoft, or the purchase is going through at the moment.
Yeah.
$24 billion or whatever it is. It's something insane. And what is that value, folks? I mean, if you really think about what it is, I mean, if there was no users on LinkedIn, well, it would be worth nothing. But the fact is that we sit there day in, day out, making connections, making it work. Of course, they provide a great service. I'm not saying they don't. But the value is actually from the community and the network getting put in there. And this is where
there's thousands of startups that could form, that could build a user experience that even surpasses LinkedIn if they had the data and the users to back it. This is the whole point, right? Like, I mean, what Gene is doing with his app, he's building a great user experience. We want people to build user experiences across all sorts of publicly available databases. That's what it really comes down to for me. And you say LinkedIn does a great job, but if a startup didn't have to worry about acquiring the users, having the data there's a lot of them that can match what LinkedIn does. So their value actually diminishes a lot by not just being the database. And really,
I'm excited that one of the speakers at the event, I think that Philip is going to be speaking from Fermat. Is that confirmed, Shidan?
It is, absolutely. That's a project I'm a big fan of as well. Those groups of people, because they see this world happening, and he is on the Future of E-commerce panel, where we talk about some of the most important things that are happening in the space. Making user experience and making payments easy are the two most important things. So things like the Lightning Network, things like micropayments, things like what 21Co is doing in a more decentralized fashion even. Those are all really the most exciting things about the cryptocurrency space, in my opinion. It's really about the commerce. And
who would you say is the target audience for the blockchain event?
Right now we have about 65% of people that have come to our show are C-level executives from, as I mentioned, enterprise and consumer-facing internet companies. Pretty much anybody who runs a technology company or wants to build a product would really benefit from coming to this show. And that's who we're really targeting right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Tatiana, are you going to sing or do any?
You know what?
music?
I do not know if I'm singing. We should have me sing something somewhere.
I think we should.
That'd be fun.
I think we should.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll do it like the inaugural day or something. I don't know. Is there like a half-day event on the 18th?
Yeah. We could make it on the 18th. Well, no.
Whatever. We'll figure it out. People, come down, come see. I'll have my guitar with me, which will be great. Shidan, can you give everybody the website one more time and then the dates?
Theblockchainevent.com, and the dates are July 18th to the 21st.
Excellent.
And folks, come up to Las Vegas and come to Freedom Fest as well. Make it a whole big trip, because there's two great festivals happening at the same time with very like-minded types, and trade philosophy and Bitcoin and Ether and stories and drinks.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. We will see you next week. Thank you to our partners that will rebroadcast this all over town, the LTB network. Thank you to Liberty.me, who is of course our host. We're also on IPM Nation and LRN.FM. Hope everybody can come and see me at PorcFest next week. Otherwise, we'll have to meet at Freedom Fest and at the blockchain event. So thanks everyone once again. Please go to TatianaMoroz.com to see the latest news from me. You can also go to our YouTube channel, Forevermore Tatiana, and see old shows, new shows, any kind of stuff. You can also see my cool John Stossel appearance, which I thought was fun. If you want to hear about Josh, go to Voltoro.com. And if you need anything for media, PR, or marketing in the Bitcoin space, please check out my website, cryptomediahub.com. We do consulting and all sorts of exciting things to make people realize a little bit more about your Bitcoin company. So thanks, everyone. And thanks one more time, Shidan, for joining us today, giving us a little insight into the blockchain event. And thank you again, Jean, for coming on from iPayYou. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.